LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I'm Chad Berliante. Glad to be with you here as always. Coach K. Stevenson, a little under the weather still, as many are right now. And being a former NFL coach, maybe he got the flu that is going around to every locker room right now, and it's bad. I mean, you got a lot of guys last night in the game that they said the flu is real. It is real. The fight is real out there. As guys like Moore, guys that made huge plays like Trey Flowers all over the field were guys that were dealing with a situation right before the game that they were throwing up. They said they were puking about an hour before kickoff. Maybe that's why David Moore was running like 100 miles per hour. You look, he was thinner. He was a lot like, one of those late nights, couple tequilas make you crazy, and the next thing you know, I'm like, oh man, I'm fresh, I'm alive. Be like, go to bed. It's 3:00. Go back to sleep. What a game. What an exciting game right there. Kirk Cousins, a guy that set a record that you don't want to have, the most losses without a win in Monday Night Football history, going to 0-9. Russell Wilson and Seattle finding a way to win. How many games in the history? You can make a montage with something like put Celine Dion music, whatever, to all of Pete Carroll's close moments. All the nail-biters that Pete Carroll has sat through, because every single week, it seems like Seattle's in this game. I mean, if you look at their schedule, whether it was the Cincinnati Bengals by a point or against the top-tier team in the league, beating San Francisco at San Francisco in the final seconds, every single game seems to go down to the wire. And even in this one, second half dominated by the Seahawks. Just come right out of the chute. They get a touchdown. They get a couple big plays. And next thing you know, what was a 17-10 Minnesota lead has become all of a sudden a game that they're sitting there at 34-17. They reeled off 24 straight points. And then Minnesota battles back, gets 2 quick touchdowns without Dalvin Cook, who said he's going to be okay, but only had 9 carries and left the game early with an injury. They come back, and it's 34-30. Uh-oh. Minnesota gets the ball back, having a chance to score. And they stop them on 4th down, going to Alabama's Irv Smith Jr. on an out route that didn't hit him. But now 0-9 on Monday Night Football, and Seattle is sitting now tied with the best record in the NFC at 10-2. And they have the tiebreaker right now against San Francisco, which would give them – so today, folks, as of today, you would have a San Francisco 49ers squad that would be battling against the team like the Dallas Cowboys and San Francisco, which we've talked about for so long as the team to beat, would be sitting there taking on the possibility of a team like Dallas in Dallas. That's where the NFL is. A 6-6 Dallas would host the team that was unstoppable last week. How quickly the tides can turn at 10-2. They would host them at home. Joining us, Jeff Price, alongside and having some fun here today. You can hear him on the Sports Drive each and every afternoon from 5 to 7 as well. And Jeff, I mean, that's the NFL. That's what it is. But big win last night for Seattle and getting it done once again.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we expect Russell Wilson to do this now. And he's one of those guys, and I know that you're going to give me that look when I say this, but he's starting, and I know he hasn't won the rings, but he is the he puts himself in a name.
Well,
or
he has a ring. He does, though.
Well, yeah, I'm saying with the rings,
Could have been 2.
But, Brady's one of those guys that, you've got fourth quarter and you've got 2 minutes left, and he's a guy that you want to orchestrate that drive. Russell's that type of guy. He always finds a way to bring, like we said, he is a lot like Brady in the sense. Now, of course, Russell has a lot better receivers this year, but he brings out the best in everybody. He makes everybody around him better because of the style of his play, just like Brady does. Brady, like we said, Brady made Chris Hogan a star. Like, where is Chris Hogan? Like
I would love to know where Chris Hogan is right now. He's on the couch right now. Chris, if you're listening, please.
But no, it's the Vikings though. They shown that they're so close, and Dalvin Cook, that was a big loss. But the other thing is they kind of abandoned. I know they had a lot of success in the passing game, but they abandoned the run. When you look at like Madison and those guys that came in the game, like they did good. But yeah, it's just another reminder that I think Minnesota is just a step behind when you look at teams like the Packers and everything. And yeah, the Packers did get blown out by the 49ers, but other than really the Ravens, nobody has challenged them that way. But I don't know. Listen, Russell, he's a guy that if he's at home, really they're 4-2 at home this year, so they're even road warriors. I don't bet against him at all.
850-623-1330 is the number. 850-623-1330. You can weigh in on right now, who would you like to see? What would be that Super Bowl that you would like to watch? San Francisco and Baltimore gave us a great matchup. Seattle with Russell Wilson. The New Orleans Saints. A lot of people would love to see one last hurrah. Maybe I'm speaking on behalf of myself. But the Patriots and the Saints. A Breeze versus Brady. Because out of all the games that we haven't had, out of the greatness, Breeze and Brady have never played against each other in the Super Bowl. Now, being married to who I am married to, I would have to leave that room and probably watch that at another separate location. As of many people here at Cat Country ESPN News Radio that would not want me to be showing up on Monday after the Patriots if they beat the Saints. At this point, I would give the edge to the Saints, and I wouldn't be showing up. But it would be one of these kind of games where we've never got to see the Breeze versus Brady Super Bowl matchup. And they very rarely play in the regular season. I mean, that's not one of those games that's usually scheduled. So that would be fun. I think a lot of people would like to see the two Titans clash. A lot of people would like to see Lamar Jackson versus Russell Wilson, who a lot of people have solidified as the MVPs, which deservingly so right now. But Lamar Jackson versus Russell Wilson one-on-one in the showdown for the championship. And then San Francisco and the defense, Nick Bosa and the guys that have been getting it done. But who would you like to see? 850-623-1330. You can also weigh in on our Talk Football text line at 850-623-1330. So if you're out and about, you don't want to call in, but you just want to send in your perfect matchup and why, 623-1330 on our text line. And we'll get to that on what would be the best Super Bowl matchup now that we've got 13 weeks in the books, and the victory right there last night, 37-30 for the Neon Crossing Guard Seattle Seahawks. It was entertaining, and it was one that was pretty exciting. Metcalf's a beast, by the way. He's a freak of nature, and the way that he's playing, Seattle's got sprinkled in players. If you watched it, because a lot of times on Monday night or Sunday night, a lot of the country is watching that game that they don't on Sunday. You know, on Sunday, they might be during the day. They're at the bar, or they're at the restaurant, or at home, and they're watching their team. But on Sunday night, or Monday Night Football, or Thursday Night Football, which is really not a good judgment of how good the players are, because a lot of times Thursday is like a 75% product. You don't get the best product. But on a Monday night, when you've got an extra rest, what you do is you usually have a pretty good primetime game, and you get to see players that you didn't even know were on that team. But Seattle, how many people were watching that game yesterday? And they're like, oh, there's Jadeveon Clowney. Or, oh, hey, by the way, that's Mike Iapati, one of the best offensive linemen in the league. Or, hey, look, Ziggy Ansah's on that team. He was a star when he was with Detroit. Everywhere you look, they've DJ Fluker, big lineman from the Chargers, 6'7", 350-pounder from Alabama. And all those guys, he's not going to beat you in the Wonderlic, but he can dominate you on the line. All these guys up at the front, those are the kind of guys that they built this team around. And it's a good roster. And they're a team that a lot of those, I mean, you're talking about Pro Bowlers that weren't with them a couple years ago. And a lot of people, they don't sound like Seahawks. Like Clowney, it's still hard to wrap your head around that. guys that weren't your regular everyday Seahawk, and they're coming through in a big way.
Well, and they don't have a me guy on that team, and I think that's where it's really important when you look at that. And what I mean, like, is like an Antonio Brown. It'd probably be the easiest one when you talk about a me guy.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of that guy that likes to showcase himself. And, yeah, he's a team guy, but you look at like a Richard Sherman. He brings a lot of attention to himself. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it just doesn't really pan out. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if you heard about it or not, but Chris Carson last night subbed out for Rashad Penny when that rush that Rashad Penny scored on.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Carson, he subbed him out because he wanted Rashad Penny to get in. He wanted him to get a touchdown. Like, and Rashad Penny said after the game, he's like, that's love. Like, that's absolute love right there. Like, that's people looking out for everybody else. I think that it may not be a big deal to anybody else, but that's something that's huge.
That's
like,
a good headline right there. Giving it to Penny for dollars. Hey, maybe he's going to make some more money off that.
But, and that's one where
Cha-ching.
Chris Carson understands that, as good as he is, they need everybody. You need Rashad Penny. You need those guys to stay high. You need them to stay, get their reps there. And for him to have an opportunity to score and to give that up to Rashad Penny, that means a lot.
And that's a really good rushing offensive line.
Really
it's hard.
good.
It's hard sometimes, black uniforms, when you see like the Ravens in black or the Saints in black, it looks fierce. You look like warriors a lot of times in those. Like, it's hard to look at like a 330-pound lineman in neon colors and be like, hurrah. But those guys up there, Mike Iapati was one of the best linemen for San Francisco on the run. You've got a guy that you see up there that is just pushing through in a Fetty. He's a big guy. He couldn't hold on to the football. He shouldn't have been running with it against San Fran, but he's a huge guy up front. Same thing with Fluker. They've got a bunch of these 350-pound big ones. It's like Georgia. Georgia hasn't found the blueprint offensively perfect, but one thing they're going to do is they can get a push forward. Whether it's DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb, Sony Michel over the years, they were great. But they had the speed to break through those holes because those huge linemen that Kirby Smart has been building up there have been dominating. Nick Saban's been doing it for years. A lot of the top-tier teams, you get those big linemen, and you're going to win. If you win the trenches, you win most games. I look at those guys on the front, and whether it's Carson or Penny or even Russell Wilson taking off, they're the kind of team that is, if they can win it gives them a chance to win anywhere. Where like a Matt Ryan is running like a chicken with his head cut off every play behind that offensive line. And it's one of the big reasons New England's not as good. I mean, New England, Tom Brady is still, he sort of is in slow motion while he moves back there. But one thing Tom Brady is crafty. Like, he escapes more pressure than most quarterbacks. Like, half of those plays he made against Houston, he would have taken 9 to 12 sacks on another roster. Like, if it wasn't Brady in that situation. He just sort of sneaks in, like sort of slithers his way through and makes plays. And he can get rid of the ball way quicker. But for that offensive line, they have the type of game where they can establish the line of scrimmage and win a game. And for that, Seattle's a contender. I mean, I saw nothing over the last couple weeks with an MVP caliber quarterback that they're not a contender. And they're doing it, too, when Doug Baldwin was out. They lost a number of guys on defense. There's no more Cam Chancellor. Earl Thomas goes to the Ravens. Like, some of the Legion of Boom guys, some of those core value guys of Seattle are gone, and they're still getting it done, and they will. And they've convinced me over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and they could care less whether they're convincing me or not. But as somebody, as a sports radio host, and somebody that watches these games and sits in with an NFL coach in Kay Stevenson and has been around, and we talked, Jim Haslett, former NFL coach, sitting right with us. Joe Theismann was here 2 weeks ago, sitting right here talking. Seattle, to me, was a team that they were winning games, but like Green Bay, they were winning a lot of games, but they weren't dominating their opponents like what Baltimore was doing, what New England was doing early in the season, what San Francisco was doing early. Now, all of a sudden, the way they're playing against teams the last couple weeks, I'm starting to believe that they can beat anyone. They went from my mindset of being in that realm of a Green Bay, Minnesota, to being a team that legitimately can lose a game at any time, but also can win those games in the big moment, where I don't believe that Minnesota would go into New Orleans and win. I don't believe that a team right now like Green Bay would go in to a place like San Francisco and win, which they got dominated by 30 a couple weeks ago. I believe Seattle can do it because they're proven that on any given field that they can win those games. And if I'm a Saints fan, I'd much rather see a Kirk Cousins, even Aaron Rodgers, and not because of Aaron Rodgers, but I'd much rather see Green Bay or a team like any of those teams besides a Seattle because Russell Wilson can win anywhere on any given day. He's that kind of guy, and he's doing it with a team that's getting better. That was a heck of a second half performance, and it was a full team effort. The running game, everything about it, they're looking like a complete team, and I hate to see that with Pete Carroll.
Yeah, well, your AFC, your first round buys. I'm gonna go ahead and run through this real quick.
Okay.
The first number 1 seed right now, and this is current, would be Baltimore, and the 2 seed would be New England. Your wild card games would be you'd have Pittsburgh and Houston. That would be the 6 seed versus the 3 seed.
What a matchup, right?
And then Buffalo would be the 5th seed.
Who do you take there, Hodges or Watson, if you're starting it? I'm just playing.
Quack, quack.
Duck, or Deshaun?
No, 5th seed would be Buffalo, and then against Kansas City. And then in the NFC, of course, New Orleans would be a 1 seed. Seattle right now is a 2 seed. The 6th seed which is Minnesota, would be playing at Green Bay. And the 5th seed, which is San Fran, which is crazy to say San Fran's a 5th seed. But they would be playing at the 4th seed, which is the Dallas Cowboys, which is exactly what you were alluding to. That's wild to think that, but hey.
Well, Philadelphia didn't help their cause by losing to Miami, so I mean, they're not a. And
Eagle fans said, "Don't bring that up. That didn't happen."
No, there's something wrong with Wentz, though. He's wincing in pain, but I mean, he's not the same guy. He's just not the same guy. And quarterbacks can lose that. Quarterbacks can lose that real quick. And I'm not saying he's losing it long term, but this year he's lost it. I mean, he's not.
That team's lost it, though. It's just that they're too talented to be playing the way they are.
People don't understand how crucial it is in the NFL and how some people have made it look so easy when it's a game in the NFL that is not supposed to be that easy. But the blueprint of making sure where everybody is on the same page, and what's happening for what we saw this year with Carson Wentz is you got look on the field. You got Miles Sanders is new. You got guys that are hurt that aren't the same player. Like he still can find Zach Ertz over the middle or Alshon Jeffrey. But there's so many new players and new faces in different positions that you'll see screen passes and the little things of running routes, and they're getting frustrated. The offensive line's had a couple injuries. Philadelphia just doesn't look the same. And I'm watching the way that they're throwing the football, the confidence level, and it happens real fast in the NFL. And we've seen that. So they're not the first one that this has been down. I mean, the only game we've ever seen Lamar Jackson play in the postseason, people were mocking him last year when he had -4 yards. -4. That's an NFL record for the wrong reason. -4 yards in the third quarter going into the fourth against the Chargers, who pretty much dominated them in Baltimore. Now, just not even a year removed from that, we're looking at a guy that is dominating the NFL, and nobody can find a way to stop him. I mean, he can break records of how many yards he wants if he continues, but they balance the attack with Ingram, the tight ends. But that's how quickly the NFL can change. We're a guy that could not figure out. Gus Bradley had a game plan for the Chargers to dominate them. Now the Chargers can't even sniff it. Rivers is about to go to his 25 children and retire, and you've got a guy in Lamar Jackson that's unstoppable. That's how quickly the NFL can change. That's why when you're seeing greatness, when you see Manning and Brady and Montana and guys that have done it for years upon years and dominated decades, what Rodgers has done consistently over at Green Bay, you get to a point where you don't understand how hard that is in the NFL. It's insanely hard, even harder than in college football. It is harder to me to dominate in the NFL than college football because you got 32 teams for the most part that have rosters that every one of those players can play it on any team, and they're all pros. They're all elite athletes. They all were Pro Bowlers. They all were, not Pro Bowlers, but all pros in college. Where in college football, I mean, you got guys like me and you that look like defensive ends sometimes for schools like Rutgers and Vanderbilt, and then you're going up against a guy that looks like Alex Leatherwood for Alabama, and that's just not going to work. So that happens. But in the NFL, they're all. And that's why it might be the apocalypse, but Miami, Cincinnati, and Washington all won in the same week. So you might want to start freaking out, get a bomb shelter, because things are happening. Crazy voodoo witchcraft is happening because the Dolphins, the Bengals, and the Redskins all won last week, and nobody wants a tank. When we come back, we're going to get to more.
It's the Red
Rifle. Watch out. The Red Rocket is ready to go and making it happen. It's got some more fuel left in that. Ooh, some ginger snap cookies for the holidays. Coming back for more. It's it's Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Welcome back to Sports View. Next topic. Is it really all about power? Makes me think of Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Gives you the power to find options based on your budget. Let's go to Chuck for an irrelevant analogy.
Man, back in the day, people didn't ask how many oranges are in the crate. They just took the oranges. They didn't say, are there 6, 7, 12, 15, whatever. It was just oranges. You get me?
We get you, Chuck. In a word, oranges.
Give it to us straight with the Progressive Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
The holidays. Time for hot cocoa, mistletoe, and spreading joy. A different kind of joy. The joy of pushing your limits on snowy mornings.
You feel that, Peloton? That's greatness.
The joy of getting the right motivation when you think you can't go any further.
Don't back down now.
The joy of giving it all you've got. Until tomorrow. Because our kind of joy will keep you coming back for more.
Peloton, way to work. Great job, everybody.
This holiday, give the gift of Peloton at onepeloton.com.
The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Everything you wanted to happen hasn't happened.
Oh, my gosh. That's all any of y'all want to talk about is Alabama.
You're really not understanding the conversation, but anyway, we can move on.
Alabama's dynasty has just begun.
Hold on a second, Charles. Somebody wants to talk to you.
I don't want to talk to that compelling moron.
He's nothing but a lame-headed old man.
2 till 5 every weekday afternoon. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're out of your freaking mind, cowturd.
You're listening to Pensacola's home for hometown sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM.
And welcome back. It is Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante, Jeff Price with you here. Coach K, a little under the weather last couple days, and wish him the best. Hope he is feeling better. I know there's been some flus going around. It's been cold, and it's the change of weather, Jeff, gets a lot of people. If you have allergies or anything like that, this change of weather thing, when it goes from like one day it's 80 and then the next in the same day too. Like it'll be 45 in the morning and then it'll be 80 by the afternoon. Like that messes with a ton of people. I mean, that's not a fun thing.
Yeah, it gets me every
time.
time.
Not a doctor, but it always gets me. Yeah,
at least a couple times a year.
Yeah.
With that.
There are those things that we don't pay attention to that like the experts know, but it is a thing. It's like when we're getting some varmints out of our house, and I remember the guy Floyd who listens to the show, and Floyd was and he was
Hey,
like,
Floyd.
anytime that there is a pattern coming, like if there's a cold front moving in or there's a storm coming towards it, like the squirrels and all these animals are looking for shelter way in advance, like hours. They can feel it, they can sense it, and they're looking to get in it. Like, but he knew all these things. Like, he knew exactly, like, as a cold front moves in, you're going to get more animals around and like all this.
You
I'm
don't
like,
set up your squirrel shelter when a cold front's
That's
moving
right.
in?
But
You don't?
But these animals, no, not at
Shame
all.
on
I
you.
know. I haven't. Sorry about that to all the little guys out there, Stimpy. But I'm telling you, there are things like that you never think of that people know, and it's the same thing when the weather's changing all the time. It messes everybody. That's when people get sick, is when all these crazy temperature changes. That's just.
It's better than having 3 foot of snow, though.
That was my excuse when I drank a handle of tequila one day and I passed it on the couch. I was like, this weather, man. That's why I'm not feeling.
Like,
but yeah.
Wait a minute, it's 75 outside.
What's going on here? Looking at some of the things going on right now, we've been talking about the difference with the. Everybody stop right now with the coaching search news.
Oh, everybody knows who it is, though.
That's right. Don't go on if you're a Florida State fan.
Stay away from media.
Stay away from Twitter or even Facebook. Just read ours. We're going to call it the stoop at this point. I don't think it's going to happen. There's no reason that it hasn't been done today. And I know some people said out of respect for Odell Hagan. Some people have said he's trying to get the XFL contract. Look, he's always going to be that was their guy. That's who they wanted. That's who Florida State wanted from day one. We do know that. If anybody who's been paying attention to the Florida State coaching search, they wanted Stoops. But at this point, it just doesn't. Why wouldn't it happen now? We do know that President Thrasher flew out and talked to him. But at that point, knowing how vital recruiting is, when your team, especially right now, where you need to light a fire, not only light a fire, but like a California brush fire. And no, sorry. I mean, it's not, no offense to, it has nothing to do. Thoughts and prayers to everybody out there, but you need something massive right now to take control. Wrong analogy there. But no matter what, I'm just saying, you need something big to make a splash. And he would have been that. So at this point, no, they would have, to the point of somebody saying out of respect for Odell and all these other stories, I would have been like, okay, we're going to announce you're the head coach, but out of respect to Odell, he can still coach. But he's not a candidate. Like, we would have been like, Odell, look, you're not going to be our coach.
Yeah, I mean, they let him interview.
Yeah, he was never a real candidate if anybody's around there. Odell was never going to be a coach, but the head coach, besides an interim head coach. A nice guy. He's always a Florida State guy, but he wasn't their guy. The buyout was made because they needed a splash-type hire. And something might not have gone right, and there was only so much you can. Remember, Florida State's not at that level right now where they're Alabama, Ohio State, like they were, but from a resource standpoint, facilities, faculty, they've got good stuff, and they can offer a lot of money right now. But they don't just have the pecking order to get, they can't, Urban Meyer is not going to choose Florida State over a USC or Notre Dame if that came up. Not to say Kelly's out, but I'm just saying if that came up, those teams outweigh what you can get at Florida State right now, just based on resources around you. So Stoops' name is going to be, you're going to hear it here, but all these people without blue check marks and all the other stuff, and they're talking about
they matter.
Breaking news, Stoops, FSU, let's stop reading these. I've heard that.
Accounts.
What I've heard from good sources, and I've talked to a number of people today, we just saw Bruce Feldman tweet out a few minutes ago, and Bruce tweeted that Matt Campbell is signed the extension with Iowa State, so he's going back to Iowa State. PJ Fleck's staying at Minnesota. He's going to try to row and find some people in the water to help row that boat.
He's got a lot of people to pick up out of the water.
Oh, yeah. Wisconsin, I mean, they were all over the place. A lot of people are having hypothermia right now.
It was like the Titanic out there.
People all over are not, they're trying to get those oars. They're grabbing people with oars and pulling them into the boat because apparently it went off the cliff yesterday on Saturday. But the guys we've heard, and what at this point, based on we're on December 3rd, and everybody said, okay, December 2nd's today. They should have done it December 1st, but December 2nd, as these days go on, to me it's pretty clear, and what we're hearing right now is that they're waiting until after conference championship week. So that would leave two people really in mind who's been on there, which would be Mike Norvell, a name from day one. Jeffrey D., I know, had talked about that name as a possibility. He was always a candidate, that short list of candidates. If you look at, if you're ever worried about it, go to Vegas and look at like the top 5 names, and they're not going to randomly throw somebody's name on there unless they've been contacted. And Mike Norvell was number 2 or 3 behind some of the guys. James Franklin was on it. You know,
he was behind Campbell, and then Franklin was 3.
Yeah, so I mean, those guys have all been on the list. I don't think the conversation with Franklin, he wanted complete control, and I don't think they were giving it to him. Same thing with Stoops. Something went. They gave him. They want to give him everything. I wasn't in the room, but that's what I've heard from good people that are credible sources at Florida State. And in something at this point, who knows? I'm not touching that one. I still have a post from I think about a month and a half ago that was Bob Stoops is what I'm hearing is the guy, and I'm not taking that post down. I mean, I've admitted I'm just going to eat the popcorn back there and watch. But our job is to analyze things, and based on that, they said we're going to wait until after conference championship week. If that's the case, maybe they'll make an announcement in 30 seconds and we look like idiots, but that's what they've been doing the whole time. If they're waiting until after conference championship week, use your brains, people. They're doing that because it would be a conference championship coach, somebody in the game. Ohio State, Wisconsin, off the table. LSU and Georgia off the table. So then you go over to Baylor, the possibility of Matt Rule, but I don't think he's leaving. That it wouldn't be a bad name, but I don't think he's leaving. Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley's not taking that job. He can go to Dallas if he wants, the Cowboys. You've got Oregon. You don't got Cristobal's not leaving. He's not leaving. He's got Nike money. Fat Cat's eat wherever he wants. That's better resources than anything. Then you also have Utah, and I don't think that's happening. So it narrows it down now to pretty much Mike Norvell or Luke Fickell. And Luke Fickell's name really hasn't been in contention at all or talked to. He's not Mike Norvell has been around here and got good players to come to Memphis. He's young, energetic, he's passionate, and he also has a better record than all those other guys. Like, he's been a 10-2 type coach, and he's now going to – Memphis is a heavy favorite to win the American Conference this year.
Yeah, and I know it's not – we don't see it happening, but Kyle Whittingham at Utah would be a good hire for him, though.
It would, but I just never –
I agree.
That would be completely out of left field. And we've got –
well, it depends on the money, too.
Based on Tallahassee's the closest team to us, and we've had I'm tweeting or I'm
we
texting.
haven't heard anything about Whittingham. No. I mean, I get that, but I'm just, who knows?
I mean, it would be good, but then we're just playing the game. I mean, we're all playing that game right now. Yeah. But to me,
Mike Leach.
Not after that press conference. No, his first press conference, he said anything derogatory. I thought it was hilarious. But
I did too.
Yeah,
I think all of his press conferences are hilarious.
At this point, everybody just stop guessing. But if they are waiting, it's a good indication it's somebody in a conference title game, and then you could start narrowing down the playing field. Because if it was Jack Del Rio, Bob Stoops, Matt Campbell said no. Now he's already signed that contract. So if it was one of those guys, James Franklin, now that Penn State season's over until a bowl game, like all of those names would have been announced the next day. There would have been no reason to wait. For him, because if you're the coach, you don't want to wait 5 days. You're losing every day, every minute you're losing a recruit. Yeah, so if those guys really want, if any of those names really want it all in, the ones we just mentioned are not even coaching right now, so they could have been announced 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now the regular season is over. So if the people are saying, out of respect to Odell Higgins or any of that stuff, which I'm not buying in any of this, but if it was, it already would have been announced on Sunday or Saturday. That Sunday morning they would have made the announcement, or Monday when everybody got back to the office after the weekend.
It would have been smart after the Florida State game. All these Florida State fans are so upset. Hey, before you guys leave, just let you know our new coach is going to be. And people are like, hey, all right, cool.
One of those fan polls, Garnet and Gold fan poll. Florida State game, a chance to win, or your Caro-meter about winning that game or getting the right head coach. It's like 98% right coach. You knew you were an 18-point underdog. You're going to lose to Florida. But if you made that splash right after the game, heck yeah. They announced Bob Stoops right after that game. People would
you would have thought Florida State won the football
game. They would have
been
all pumped. But it's not at this point. I can't see that happening.
No.
So let's use logic behind it. Norvell might not be the next head coach, but if you put all the pieces together, it's adding up to that. Or maybe they're sitting back and they've talked to him and they've talked to Fickell, and whoever wins that game on Saturday.
You guys get it.
All right, guys, here it is. Next coach, play for the Florida State job. It'd be funny that one of them wins. Is like, I don't want it now. You know, what?
It was a 3-0 game. They were out there trying to
tie. It's a tie. They just keep playing. And sorry, we're ending a tie. All right, you guys both want to come over? We'll split the money. Look, if Greg Schiano right now is making, by the way, and this is I'm glad you know people, because a guy like a witch hunt out there in Tennessee, where they like protest outside, like,
unbelievable.
Get this guy out of Knoxville, get him out of here. Like that guy at 53 years old who hasn't had a winning football season or even been in coaching last couple of years as a head coach. He's been a coordinator with Ohio State and some other teams, but he is 8-year, $32 million deal signed with Rutgers. Knowing, too, that
sweet gig.
Really sweet gig. I need that guy, that agent, and pay him whatever. I mean, that's the guy's getting it done right there. How about that? But the Board of Governors, remember, the last time Rutgers was even relevant in football was with Schiano. So it's like, hey, thank you.
Yep.
Like, bring back that cafe. It's, you guys, they are the worst team right now. And I don't think it's even – I don't think you can argue it. They're the worst team by far in Power 5 conference football right now. I mean, not even close. I mean, even
it's
if
not
you
even
took,
debatable.
Not even debate. If you took Kansas, you took Vanderbilt, you took every single team, half the ACC. I mean, what they did, no matter what it is, Rutgers is an average underdog by about 40 to 50 points in the Big Ten. I mean, these games are embarrassing. And he's not going to walk in there and change the dynamics of Ohio State, Michigan. He's not going to jump Michigan State or Indiana. He's not going to jump Purdue right now that paid a guy like Braum a bunch of money. So you're paying a guy $4 million a year for 8 years, which, frankly, I don't know if he was going to want to coach for 8 years. And you're paying this guy that much money, $32 million you just gave for, at most, you're going to be a 3-9 program. Like, if he can turn it around, kudos. If we're sitting here 4 years from now talking about that, I'll walk up and he might – Greg Schiano's not the kind of guy that would probably want like a bro hug, but I'd just be like, hey, Greg, like from a distance, like a shooter to him, like shooter, like Greg, hey. Maybe be like, who's that dude? How'd he get in my house? But all of this stuff, I'm telling you, if you're Rutgers, if you're a fan, you got to be like, okay. I mean, it's not my money, I guess. Like, woohoo. If you're an alumni, like, well, I thought that money was going to, wait a second, we're buying a new books. We're going to buy a new library. What is this? Like, why do we pay this guy that much? That's way too much money. They get a guy in New Jersey, like a yo guy. Like, yo, listen up, Tony here. Like $50. $50 a game. I got this right here. I know people, too. Get that line dropped to like 47, 40, 44. Make it 44. Let's make it 44. Like, they could have picked any guy because Rutgers right now does not need to pay $32 million to any coach at all to build this.
Well, listen, your 2 wins, and it was against UMass, 48-21. And then you lost to Iowa, Boston College, Michigan, Maryland, Indiana. It's not even close, these games, by the way. Like, a bunch of these games, they were shut out, or they scored 1 touchdown. They lost to Minnesota. They did beat Liberty.
They were actually an underdog in that game, I believe. So.
They're underdog probably every game. But then they go back to losing to Illinois, Ohio State, Michigan State, and Penn State. So, tell you what, they did put 21 on Ohio State, though. They really ramped up for that game right there. I'll tell you what, Greg Schiano's got to be loving that game.
Nothing like a quarterback named Artur Sitkowski.
That sounds like a linebacker.
He's missing an H in his name. It's Artur. And then also, in any name with Sitkowski, if your name's Sit, it's already like a bad feeling. Yeah. Because it's like, a 4-and-out and punt, 3-and-out punt, and you got a guy named Sitkowski back on the bench. But apparently it's big news because he's not going to enter the transfer portal, and he's coming back to give Greg Schiano a chance to go 2-10 again.
Looking at this Indiana game when they lost 35-0, give me passing yards their quarterback had.
Yeah.
1.
1 quarter. There you go. It's one more than we expected, I guess.
Their leading rusher had 44 yards rushing, so it wasn't like that was just that ground and pound game. It was just like, you got 1 yard.
Greg Schiano, look what you just did. You made us spend 5 minutes on Rutgers football.
Yeah, what are we doing?
How dare you? How dare you? When we come back, we're going to talk some more on the NFL Power Rankings. It is Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
This year, don't just say Happy Holidays. Get a gift that says, I love every moment that led us here. With the incredible selection of Levion jewelry at Jared and more exclusive designs than any other store in the world, it's a perfect place to find a gift that says it all. Shop the Levion Fall in Love event from December 3rd to 12th for exclusive offers, including $100 off any Levion purchase, only at Jared.
Get a promo code or find a store near you at jared.com. Exclusions apply. See store or jared.com/Levion for complete details.
The Home Depot delivers on your terms. Just say when, where, and how. Get free delivery on over 1 million items. No membership required. Need it fast? Order in-stock items online and pick them up in as little as 2 hours. Or tell us when you'll be home and we'll bring your order to your front door today. This is how doers get more done. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Visit homedepot.com for details.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there.
We are broadcasters. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're listening to Pensacola's home for hometown sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM.
And welcome back. It is Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Also, for the folks that are still on top of it and saying that Bob Stoops is the guy, just going by the facts now, because we all were part of the Stoop at the beginning. But he was talked to. But right now, currently, on Sportsline, with the odds for the next Florida State coach, as of this morning, before the announcement was made, Matt Campbell had the best odds. Mike Norvell, second best odds. Odell Higgins, Mark Stoops, James Franklin, Brian Kelly, and then Jack Del Rio, which I think that rumor was started by us here. I really do. That name was never popped up on any boards until we talked about it on air. So, hey, look, they're listening out there. Thank you to the folks in Vegas for hearing that, even though I don't believe that's going to happen. If it is, we know exactly the sources, and those obviously they know more than we do. But so basically, now that Matt Campbell's off the table, because he just signed until 2025 this morning with Iowa State, next in line is Mike Norvell, which is the name that we're hearing, and they're waiting until Conference Championship week to make that decision. They're going to wait. They're not going to make that announcement, right? He's not going to be announced on like Thursday. If the days go by, the hours go by, and Florida State doesn't have their next coach, then Mike Norvell is the coach.
So they're not really waiting to make their decision. They made their decision. They're just waiting to announce it.
That's right. I mean,
that's the only thing that makes sense at this point.
It makes
this whole
no
thing
sense.
has not made sense.
I would be angered. And we have a lot of Florida State fans, obviously, out there listening. Big Moose and folks that are paying attention to this all the time. Sandy downstairs and, Terrence A. Gross doing the show with us tomorrow on Tomahawk Talk. If you're a Florida State fan, I'd be pretty ticked off at this point if it is a James Franklin, if it was a Bob Stoops, if it was somebody else, because they're sitting on the couch right now.
Yeah.
Like, why are you waiting 2 or 3 days at this point to wait? You're going to wait after the bowl game when they play a Bozo the Clown and up in Detroit? Nobody cares about that. If the only person to make sense on at this point is if you're waiting would be the deal getting done with Mike Norvell or the possibility of Luke Fickell or somebody else that's in a conference title game, and it really is narrowed down to nobody. The only Matt Rule and these other names, but that's got to be it. I mean,
you just made a lot of Michigan State fans upset.
Sorry, well, I didn't.
Bozo
is it official
the
they're playing them? Is it official now?
That's what all
no,
these.
No, I wouldn't say that Michigan State.
No, it's too late. You've already hurt their feelings.
Well, first off, Bozo was very respected. His own show with
no,
cookies.
We're not going down
I'm
that
just
road.
saying. Made a lot of money for WGN over those years. So
how about those power rankings?
How about those? Let's get to the NFL power rankings here. And just for that, I'll make sure to play more of the USC fight song for Jeff here today.
Yes.
So let's get to that in honor of Clay Helton apparently still alive for the job. That's what we're here.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
All right, let's get to the NFL power rankings and go down the list. As Jeff, I'll let you kick things off here in our top 10.
I wonder why you let me kick this one off. Number 1, Baltimore Ravens. All right, moving on. All right, how about this? This won't make you feel any better. Number 2, San Francisco 49ers. I'm telling you, people they've lost faith in your. But this is where you want to be if you're the Patriots, right? Go ahead, fly under the radar. That's fine.
Nobody flies under the. They don't fly under.
Well, no, I mean, but they kind of are now. People are like, yeah, their old news are done. All right, Brady's done.
Rex Ryan clapping.
Don't even say that name. Don't even.
Next time Rex Ryan's on TV, dub it into English because your TV has been taken over by aliens. And when he talks, it's actually saying like, Rex, what do you think of this week in the NFL?
You know what he reminds me of?
Really,
a pizza owner in New York. You just walk in, the guy's yelling in the back. He's like,
he's lost all his profits. He ate all his income. But
so yeah, but 1 and 2, I could see that. I mean, I see 1, 2, and 3. You can mix them up wherever you want. That's fine.
You clearly have not. You've clearly.
Well, I see Baltimore definitely number 1.
You're right.
I see that.
I would put Baltimore. I see. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and agree with you, Baltimore, right now.
Okay, number 2,
Saints.
Ooh.
Not a ooh. I mean, they're.
No, I mean it's just they're listed at number 4 on ESPN.com.
Rex Ryan works for ESPN. I'm just saying. So you've now added. So do we. So I mean, but in a smaller way down here.
Number 5 is the Seattle Seahawks.
How do we get to number?
Huh?
Thought we were on 3.
The Patriots were 3.
I'm not putting them there.
Hey, you still have them at number 1.
No, I've got Baltimore, New Orleans. I'll just let you read your top 5. Go ahead.
Okay, this is on ESPN.
Okay.
So 3 is the Patriots. 4 is the New Orleans Saints. Can we please turn this? This is. Oh, I hate USC. This is every morning. This is what Clay Helton wakes up to. Like, yeah, I got him another day.
If I'm going to suffer through the NFL power rankings, you're going to suffer through that, right?
All right, 4 is the New Orleans Saints. 5 is the Seattle Seahawks, which they won last night and dropped 4 spots. That's cool.
I'd take Seattle over New England right now, but good. Continue.
Wow. All right.
But they
I'm proud of you.
My grandmother is going to try out at wide receiver next week for the Patriots. So I mean, at this point, Antonio Brown. How is Antonio? Like, I would be like, look, if I'm Bill Belichick at this point, be like, and all Pats fans would be like, look, all your nonsense aside, be like, it's too late now.
Well,
it's too late now.
We talked to Coach Shinnick. If we can get those guys out there in New England, they would help Brady out big time.
The Gronk talk, all this is done. They've passed the day. It was November 31st was the deadline, so they're not coming back.
Number 6, the Kansas City Chiefs. What do you think? Good. All right. Mahomes is getting healthy. He's starting to be his old self.
I mean, they can be 1 or they can be 15. That's
absolutely.
They can win.
The defense
any game.
looked a lot better the other day.
They're the type of team in the postseason you don't want to play. Like if a team like Pittsburgh gets in, or if a team one of these teams that's sitting on the edge, Indianapolis finds a way, Tennessee finds a way. Like, you'd much rather play that than Patrick Mahomes. You don't want to play Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. So, yeah, I would agree.
Number 7, this I kind of disagree with this a little bit. The Minnesota Vikings are over the Packers.
Yeah, I would still go Green Bay.
Yeah.
I think Minnesota's a better roster, but they're not. Kirk Cousins, I think he's a good quarterback, solid, but he's never won the big game ever. No. And 0-9 is his record. He broke a record last night on Monday Night Football. And he battled. I mean, he makes plays, but the point is you can look good for a while, but when you have a moment, all of that other stuff, whether he had 6 picks in the game, whether he was on a Phillip Rivers high, or he was sitting out there and every single perfect pass was so crisp and he was 25 for 25. At that moment, with down by as many touchdowns as 3 touchdowns, he had a final drive when it was 34-30 to make plays and lead his team. And they went 4 and out at the end, and they couldn't get it. So, I mean, it happened so much with the Kirk Cousins team. And after a while, you just lose faith in that. And I'm not saying, I know Coach K, this is his show. I know he's a big fan of Kirk. He likes Kirk Cousins a lot. And I think Kirk Cousins is a solid quarterback. But sometimes when you're put in all those situations and you have that, and everybody was even saying, Booger McFarland, and they were saying, they're like, okay, here's your chance, Kirk. Like, this is national TV. You're in one of the most hostile environments. The 12th man, it's rocking, it's cold. Like, a lot of these guys have the flu. You win this game. It was a huge game for Seattle to take over home field advantage over San Francisco and win that division. They might get a bye now. Right now, Seattle has jumped into a bye where San Fran's fallen into playing on the road now at Dallas. So all of that was huge for Seattle. And Minnesota had control in that final drive to end it, to make it. And they failed. They failed.
They need Thielen.
They need Thielen.
Diggs is really good, but with Diggs without Thielen, it's not the same because those are 2 dynamic receivers on the outside, and it's so tough to cover both of those guys.
And then you can find Rudolph over the middle too. Yeah,
well, and then a guy like Laquan Treadwell comes into play.
Yeah, that's been such a disappointment.
But when you have 1 and 2,
it's been a
there's always that
disappointment,
guy.
though.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was going to be so much
DK Metcalf across is making freak plays.
Yeah.
Treadwell is he's not.
But number 9, Houston Texans, and number 10, Buffalo Bills. I mean,
you got to put Buffalo on there. I mean, hey, look, they continue to. Their defense is good enough to play with almost anybody. It's just Josh Allen he's going to be gunslinging. He's wild, wild west. Sometimes you want that guy, sometimes you don't. He's the guy. He's Jimmer Fredette. They're Jimmer Fredette. They're pretty much Jimmer Fredette's going to shoot it from 30 feet in basketball.
That's perfect.
It is perfect. It's like Jimmer Fredette's going to either light it up where he's the highlight reel, because Josh Allen has had 3 weeks where he's had the best fantasy football numbers with rushing touchdowns too, and he's had 3 weeks of atrocious fantasy football numbers because he's either going to get you like 4 touchdowns, 2 running, all these yards, or he's going to throw 3 or 4 picks and lose a game for you. So he's just not consistent, but he can. The defense is good enough to keep you in every game.
Is it safe to say the Bengals are the worst team? If you look at it,
not with Andy Dalton last week. He's actually Andy Dalton. I think the time has passed him. I'm not ready to all right,
no.
but he's actually a legit quarterback that got paid millions upon millions of dollars to play his position. There's some quarterbacks that have never got that paycheck that are just bad.
And he's redheaded. Yeah, that makes it worse for him.
Coming back for more. It's sports. It's Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Tom Brady's.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Dude, it's game day, and I'm fired up that football is back.
I know, but I'm bummed they don't show my favorite team on TV around here.
All right, well, what about that place Calvert's? They're a really cool English pub-style restaurant, and they have a really good drink menu.
Yeah, but what about the game?
Don't worry, they have the NFL Sunday Ticket and plenty of TVs, so we can watch any game that we want.
Ooh, I just looked at the menu and that Abbey Road burger is calling my name.
Calvert's in the Heights Restaurant and Bar, 3102 East Cervantes Street, calvertsintheheights.com.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
At Goodyear Auto Service, Black Friday deals run until December 4th, so you don't have to get up at 3 a.m., sleep in a tent, or fight the crowds. Come in and get up to $250 in savings. That's $100 off instantly when you purchase and install a set of 4 Goodyear or Dunlop tires. Plus, up to $150 back on select sets of 4 Goodyear tires via online or mail-in rebate when you use the Goodyear credit card. Terms and conditions apply. Visit GoodyearAutoservice.com to learn more.
It's time for some straight talk. You know those football players who are all talk, no show? Well, big wireless carriers aren't much different. Well, Straight Talk Wireless doesn't give you the hype, just the savings. For just $45 a month, you'll get the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. No contract. All on the same 4G LTE networks as the big guys, but up to half the cost. Savings delivered right to your wallet. Only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
Credit a great performance by Garoppolo. And I love the way he throws the football. He's got all the things going for him.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1. Welcome to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1. Pensacola's home to the best talk in sports, new and improved. We are ESPN Pensacola, 1330 and FM 99.1.
You're listening to Pensacola's home for hometown sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM.
And welcome back. Talk football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Jeff's favorite music as bands play favorite renditions of songs right there. Coach K. Stevenson out today. We hope you feel better, Coach. I know he's been a little under the weather. He'll be back here soon to talk all the big games. Right now, currently, as Seattle winning yesterday, moving into that second spot, and as of today now with a bye with New Orleans at 10-2. The San Francisco 49ers fall to 10-2 so quickly things can change, where they would play at Dallas and Jerry Jones. So, right now, the mall mannequin himself, Jason Garrett, is pretty much out of a job as a coach. They're 6-6. It's been like the apocalypse the way they've been playing. But right now, currently, they would host in the playoffs in the first round the team that people have talked about being the best team, and all of their Kyle Shanahan being the coach of the year. Well, all like the defense unstoppable in San Francisco. It's insane to think that that's what would happen as of today. But that's the NFL in a nutshell, even through 13 weeks.
Are you buying into this hype now? You with the Cowboys that practice was chippy yesterday. These guys are they're ready to fight. They're ready to battle. And Zeke and those guys are like, yeah, we can still accomplish anything we want to. That we wanted to at the beginning of the season, which is true. They can. They could win the Super Bowl, because if they get in the playoffs like that, then yeah. But I don't buy that. I just think that's more like they're trying to get the media off their back.
Here's my answer to that.
Going on.
Prove it. And what I mean by that is this has been a rodeo, and this has been a conversation for 25 years. 25 years it's been, this is the team, this is the one, this is what we're doing. We're better this week, or we're doing – no, until you go out there and you win some playoff games and you get back. Since the days of watching Emmitt Smith, who now might be – I think he might be a grandfather now. Emmitt and Michael Irvin and Nate Newton and those guys. Until that, Jimmy Johnson, nah. Prove it. Done nothing. Tony Romo was now broadcasting. Jason Witten was, and he's now back on your team. That's all the time we have for Talk Football with Coach K. Jeff and I will join you again. Go Gators coming up on ESPN Pensacola.
Football is here. Catch all the UWF Argos games and the big NFL games every Saturday and Sunday on Pensacola's home for hometown sports. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. If you would like to be a part of ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000 or visit our website at ESPNpensacola.com.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
With your sports headlines for ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, I'm Davis Allen. The Seattle Seahawks gained control of the NFC West by rallying for a 37-30 win over the Minnesota Vikings in a critical matchup between conference contenders. Seattle trailed 17-10 at halftime before scoring 24 straight points and holding on for its fifth consecutive victory. The Seahawks moved to 10 wins and 2 losses on the year, tied with New Orleans and San Francisco for the NFC's top record, and Seattle holds a tiebreaker on the 49ers in the West by virtue of a head-to-head win last month. Minnesota fell a game behind NFC North leader Green Bay and is 1 game ahead of the Los Angeles Rams for the conference's final wild-card spot. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going back to their rookie quarterback Gardner Minshew when they host the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday. Minshew went 4-4 as Jacksonville's starter after Nick Foles broke his left collarbone in the season opener, and the Jaguars have since dropped all 3 games following Foles' return. In college football, Chris Peterson surprisingly resigned as Washington's coach after 6 seasons at the school. The Huskies went 7-5 this year to become bowl eligible for a 6th straight season under Peterson, who will move to a leadership advisory role within the athletic department. Defensive coordinator Jimmy Lake has been promoted to take over the team. In Major League Baseball, the Cincinnati Reds have landed one of the top hitters on the free agent market by agreeing to a 4-year, $64 million deal with all-star infielder Mike Moustakas. Pace native and former All-Star Addison Russell was not tendered by the Chicago Cubs yesterday, making him a free agent. Russell was the starting shortstop for the Cubs' 2016 World Championship team, but hit a career-low .237 last season and was suspended 40 games for violating the MLB's domestic violence policy. In college basketball, Louisville is the #1 team in the AP poll for the first time in 6 years, while Michigan matched the biggest jump in 70 years, going from unranked to now #4. With your sports headlines for ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, I'm Davis Allen.
If you're a small business owner, there's no better place to find the impact hire to help your business than LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs takes the time to learn more about who you're looking for and then recommends qualified candidates from their community of engaged and career-minded people, candidates who you likely won't be able to reach anywhere else. The truth is, over 70% of the U.S. workforce is on LinkedIn, and posting your job on LinkedIn gives you the best chance of finding and starting a conversation with your next star recruit. It's no surprise a new hire is made every 8 seconds using LinkedIn. So build your winning team by posting a job on LinkedIn and visit linkedin.com/sports to get $50 off your first job post. That's linkedin.com/sports for $50 off your first job post. LinkedIn.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
This is a message for all parents. If you as an adult think it's tough being separated or divorced, have you truly stopped to consider how your being separated or divorced affects your children? How parents treat one another, either during or after divorce, can have lifelong effects on your children. Whether you are separated from your spouse or even actually divorced, in either situation, keep in mind that you and your spouse are parents forever. Hello, my name is Stephen T. Holman, and I am a family law attorney. If you have questions regarding custody, visitation, or child support, call me today for a free consultation at 435-6909. That's 435-6909.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
And welcome to Go Gators right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante, Jeff Price with you here. Thanks for tuning in as we will break down what's been a great season for Florida. Talk a little bit about Dan Mullen and the success. Felipe Franks heading out of town to to an article that said is either going to transfer or join the NFL, where I say, as the NFL, what is he? Going to squirt the water bottles with Adam Sandler on the sidelines? H2O. Like, I'm not really seeing anything from a standpoint as a football player. But a lot of good things to talk about on today's show after the win and overall. And shame on whoever brought all of those. Thank you, first off. I'm going to say thank you and shame on you at the same time. Whoever brought all of those amazing Swiss rolls and Twinkies and the ho-ho cakes and all those things for Christmas right down there. Because this has been my life. The last moon pies and crunch bars and, man, I'm not going to do like a milk does a body good here, but we've had way too many of those. And thank you, but also shame on you because we're going to eat it's going to be my diet the next couple of days. Is ho-hos and Twinkies right there. Joining us, Jeff Price, who just finished. I gave him a chance to finish eating a couple of them. Taking down a couple ho-hos right there. Jeff, what's happening on that note? How's it going today?
You can't bring me in like that.
Ho-ho-ho. Merry Christmas. That's why.
Doing pretty good now.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure. But
our diet is crap.
This is what happens during the holidays. And right when you come in here, and what we just did this week, because a lot of people on Monday are like, you know what, just ate a bunch of stuff for Thanksgiving and I'm all full. And they're like, but Monday I'm getting back to the gym and getting back at it. And
I gave up on that.
So I get in here Monday and it's been worse. What we did was we were the guy that showed up at the gym, Planet Fitness, showed up somewhere. And what you did is you walked inside and you went immediately to the one vending machine that is outside because they don't want to have a vending machine. And you walked through the gym, went to the vending machine and hit Cheetos, Doritos, Crunch bars, and then walk through the gym back to your car. That's what we just did. We're like, all right, get into the shape. And then just completely added more nonsense to our diet. Let's get to Gator Talk right now. Nobody needs to hear this. Talking about Dan Mullen and what he's been able to do. 2 10-win seasons back-to-back years. Last year was a good year, but most people, Davis Allen, Jordan Glass, the guys were out there. They covered the Florida and Michigan game at the Peach Bowl. And when Florida won that game, they ended on one of the most positive notes. The two highest notes going into this season, outside of Clemson and winning the national title, was Florida beating Michigan in the Peach Bowl in one of the New Year's Eve bowl games, and was Texas beating Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Those two teams were getting a lot of praise, big wins, teams looking like they're going the right way. Well, Texas went 7-5 this year. Wasn't a good look. With the poor man's Tim Tebow and Sam Ehlinger. In Florida, that Felipe Franks starts the season, and it looks, as Cleveland would say from Family Guy, nasty. That's just nasty. And it was bad. It was a bad fourth quarter. It was a bad way to end that game. 4 PIs, 60 yards of penalty as an not even average Miami team went out there and almost beat them. But ever since then, Kyle Trask comes in that game after the injury Frank suffers during Kentucky. And he goes out there, and he has looked not only good, but really good, and doing everything he needs to be. Now, he's not at the level of Joe Burrow. He's not being talked about it, and he's not going to be. But he's done exactly what they needed to do, and he's a competent quarterback that can win any game. And now they're sitting there 10-2 to finish the season. And frankly, if it wasn't for a couple plays against LSU and Georgia, they'd be in the conversation for the college football playoff. If the season started today, or the college football playoff was an 8-team playoff today, I wouldn't want to see Florida. I wouldn't want them to be in because the way they're playing is more confidence every week. And they go out and dominate an opponent which was expected to lose the game. But anytime you have Florida State and it's a rivalry and they're going through all this stuff, and Odell Higgins is the bragging of 4-0, all this stuff when it hadn't been anybody yet. Odell's a good guy. I mean, most people only root for a guy like Odell in sports. He's not a head coach material, but he's the guy that's always been with them. He was a player there. He stayed in the facilities. At the dorm. Marty Stanovich telling me stories that they would walk by the Love Building and things like that. He's been a Florida State guy, a friend of the family of the program for so long. So only good things to say, but he's not a head coach. He's not at Florida State. So Florida goes out there and beats them soundly. It was 30-7 at halftime, 40-17 final score, and 3 touchdown passes from Kyle Trask. It just ends a 4-game losing streak at home in the series. The game meant a lot. And, Jeff, it was a big win, and I think it's only going to be more positive for Florida going forward, the way they're building confidence. Because especially when you're recruiting in that zone where you've got Florida State and you've got teams like UCF and Miami and all these teams you're going up against, USF, and these guys can steal a couple guys sprinkled in there. You're still going up against Georgia and some of the other ones. But the ones I mentioned, they've got a stronghold in the state of Florida right now, which is huge, and Florida hasn't been able to say that over the last decade. So it's been a great season overall. The success, is it right about where you saw it, way over succeeded, or below average, which really doesn't fit the mold here, of what they accomplished this year at 10-2?
With the old teams we've seen with Florida, I think offense was the question. We saw Felipe Franks, like, you didn't know what he was going to be. Like, is he good or bad, Felipe? And Trask has been above and beyond what anybody could expect, unless you were like that diehard, that Florida guy or that knows him, that knew that how talented he was. It's just when a guy comes in a game, you just never have a clue. But Kyle Trask, to me, is just the perfect guy for Dan Mullen, because he looks at him like a project. Like, he came in, Trask didn't think he was going to be a part of it, and then Mullen's like, yeah, you're here. You're our guy. We want you here. And then he gets the opportunity. Now, it's a shame how he got the opportunity. You never want it to be that way. But regardless, he has done nothing but just wow people. I mean, he completed almost 70% of his passes this year. And you look at 24 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. That's pretty good for a backup in high school. And for the people that don't know, he was the backup to De'Aaron King, who's at Houston for now. But they just didn't run the style of offense where because Trask is not exactly light on his feet there. He's not terrible, but De'Aaron King, he's perfect in a running offense, obviously. But I think that when you look at his quarterback rating and everything, if I look at Florida as a whole, this is exactly where I thought they would be, except the offense is a step ahead of what I thought. But that's where it makes it scary, because Dan Mullen's a good coach, and he's going to get another year. And these guys, I tell you, and I've said this to you a bunch of times and to a bunch of people, Emory Jones is that guy that's that dark horse that people need to look out for, because he brings a different element. And when you give Dan Mullen a guy like that to keep in his back pocket, they're going to be dangerous next year. That defense is going to be good, we know that, but that offense is going to be scary.
Felipe Franks is opted out. He's going to explore other options. I can't even read this with a straight face. It says enter the NFL or transfer. Like I said, if you're a scout or anybody and he enters the NFL, I don't know what he's going to be doing. It'd be a terrible play. If he was good enough, like where people were wanting him not to come back to start at Florida this year, why would you want that guy to be a future NFL quarterback? I mean, he's not. And it's not because he's got all the physical tools to be a starting quarterback and an elite starting quarterback in the NFL. Tools like the actual 6'6", 240 arm strength.
You thought he'd play in the NFL.
The way he drops back on pass. The difference is what is about, I'd say, 70% of being a great skill player, but a great player overall, is being able to think and decision making at the most important position in all of sports, probably outside of a pitcher in baseball. Outside of a pitcher in baseball, the quarterback is the most important position to make decisions. And he got an F grade for that. His decision-making skills were F. So if you balance that, it's not an NFL quarterback. And he would never, I mean, if you're a defense, I mean, look at Dwayne Haskins has made some bad decisions in the NFL. But Dwayne Haskins still is fighting for it. And he's not going to be a long-term NFL guy. Even though they won this week, he was like 13 for 26 for 157 yards. Like, they're not winning because of him. They're winning because their defense is making plays, and the run game, Darius Geis and the guys are running over people. Franks is not going to the NFL. If he does, it's a bad decision. Now, maybe the XFL, just because he's got a name. He's got some spunk to him. Or maybe he goes to another team, but I don't see him, even if he does, like a contender. I'm a contender. I'm not taking him. I mean,
I don't think
unless
a
you want to
takes him.
Yeah.
Though. I think it's a lower tier. Even you could see him. I could see him in the Big Ten somewhere. At one of these other schools.
Yeah.
But I don't see him. No, not like you talk about a Justin Fields to Ohio State. Nothing like that.
I could see Arizona. Look at Kevin Sumlin. Yeah,
well, Harbaugh's made some bad decisions. He may pick, just who knows, Michigan. I don't. Come on.
I'd be bitterly disappointed in that.
Would it surprise you that much? Though?
Well, he did roast. I mean, the one game Felipe Franks you could sit there, stand up and applaud against a decent team was he dominated Michigan. That was the best game I've ever seen him play. So that's
Harbaugh's like, hell, I've seen what you can be.
That game alone, if that was his only game, we'd be like, oh, this guy's one of the great quarterbacks. Like, he had an incredible game there. But no, outside of that.
Harbaugh will transform him into the guy that can beat everybody in the Big Ten except Ohio State. And he will have to tell him, listen, no matter how good you're doing, you are not going to beat Ohio State, and you're going to have your worst game. That's just the way it is.
I mean, where do you think his legacy? He said, it has been my dream to play at University of Florida, to play for a top program and contribute to winning games. I have been so fortunate to meet as many amazing people as I have while being here. Coaches, players, and fans as well. My heart will always be part of the Gator family. Now, first off, when you say that and then you transfer, that's like, okay, wait a second, that doesn't make sense.
No, absolutely.
That's what you say when you're like leaving, or in a case where like Jalen Hurts was okay because Jalen Hurts was told you only have 2 years left and you're not going to be the starter. Like this is to his team.
But he stuck it out.
But Franks actually could try to come back. Like the last moment of him losing the job was because he was the quarterback and he got hurt. Hurts got benched, and then
right.
And Franks. Quote, we know Trask is the guy moving forward, but if you're good enough and prideful enough, you battle for that job. You try to earn it back, especially if you want to be an NFL guy. I mean, you try to earn that job back at Florida or be at least utilized, and he's not doing that. So he's out. But just don't write that. I would just be like, hey, look, I had a good time there. I want to continue to play. Nobody will fault you. First off, the Gator fans right now don't want you. It's not that they don't want you back in an orange and blue. They don't want you on the football field. They don't want you throwing the football for them. So they're okay saying, hey, you know what? Frank's shaking the hand and saying, yeah, good luck. We don't. They don't hate him. I don't think Franks didn't leave them in a situation because he was the starter the year before that went 10-3. They finished 10-3 after the bowl game. And they don't hate Franks. Jeffrey D sits here. They don't hate. I've watched enough games where I think that some of the things he made were just asinine. I watched him on 4th down and 5 one time. 4th down and 5. Slide a yard short at 6'6", 240. I saw him another time on 4th down throw the ball into the stands. Just get rid of it like you would do on 1st down, not to take a sack. And I'm sitting there going, you cannot do that. You cannot do that to your team. At least try to make a throw downfield. Worst case is it gets picked, and it's like a punt on 4th down that would actually give the ball back 20 yards down the other field. So he just does things that are unacceptable to me. But he's not going to be looked at as I don't think Gator fans are going to hate him. He's going to be like, okay, who's that guy?
But everything you just said, it alludes because listen, before he got hurt, he was completing over 75% of his passes. Almost 700 yards. He was 54-71. Good, awesome. He had 5 touchdowns and had 3 interceptions. And what you alluded to, though, it was always about his decision-making.
Yeah, it was. And
he has all the tools to be really good, except mentally. That's where it kills him. And that's where you're playing quarterback. That's the toughest position mentally to play on the football field, other than, I guess, a kicker, who knows, which we don't know how their brain works anyway, so we're not even going to get into that.
But, I mean, it was like that. He was I honestly want to see, the Duracell commercials. I want to check if there's batteries back there because, I've watched enough games where it's 3-step drop, turn to the left, throw the football, and then danger, woo, 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 cornerback standing in the way, he's still throwing it, it hits the other guy and he runs back for a touchdown. You're like, why would he throw that? There's a guy standing in front of him. But it was in his brain, he's like, okay, it's like, okay, I got to do this. When you're a systematic person, you're like 1, 2, 3, and throw, and instead of actually just being natural on it. And he never let him go. When he actually had to run, scramble for plays downfield, he would make big plays. He was actually better in a free-for-all when he had to get outside the pocket and run downfield. He was better at that than when they had him in the system. But the system also, they had good enough players where he could step back, hit a guy, because he had a laser rocket arm, and he could step back and hit a guy on a 5-yard slant, and that guy would take off down the field for 50 yards for a touchdown.
He reminds me a lot of a quarterback that in high school that he's a good athlete, and he's got he has all the tangibles to be awesome, but at the same time he doesn't trust by watching film. Like when you break down film, you read defenses, and when you walk up to the line, the first thing you do is look at your defense, and you get an idea. Okay, well I think I know kind of where my progression is going to go. Where he's just like, all right, I'm going here. I don't care what it is. I'll throw it harder. It'll get there faster. They won't be able to get it. And that's kind of the way, like, he's already made his decision before the plays even started. That's kind of the way I look at it.
And he has. And I think and the epitome of that was the game against Kentucky. And I'm down there watching with Alan Nicholson, who's the president of the Northwest Florida Gator Club. Does a great job at Synovus Bank. And with Jeff and Shane Rowe of Emmanuel Shepherd and Condon, great Florida alumni. All these Stephen T. Holman, all these people are down there, and we're sitting there, and we're watching this game, and I remember looking in when he got hurt. I went to everybody. It was 20. I think they were down 11 at the time, and Sawyer Smith from Tate was in that game for Kentucky, so people were rooting for Sawyer and things like that. Not at the Gator Club, but all these people. And I was like, watch this. Trask is coming in, and they're going to win this game, and everyone's sort of like, a little more optimistic in your UCF shirt over there, buddy. But all of this stuff, and they did, But I remember the play that won them the game. Remember, Kyle Trask had to pitch the ball getting hit. He was getting hit, and he had to pitch the ball to Pirine. Now, it actually showed up in the scores book as a run for Pirine for a touchdown.
Yeah.
But it was 4th down and 2, and if they don't score that, Kentucky pretty much can run the clock out, and he pitches the ball over and gets into the end zone. And you sit there and go, that's the type of play right there that doesn't show up in the stat book as anything outside of a run by Pirine. But it was a play where Trask is getting pulled to the ground on a sack and pitches it across field like an option toss to a guy that's open because he had his think in the final seconds on his toes. And he did it. And that's a play that Felipe Franks could never do because it was I have to make a play to save our team. And he couldn't do those. And that was the difference. Is you lose that game to Kentucky, the entire season at that point, the entire season is different. Because no matter what they did from here on out, it would have been a 3-loss team. You lost to Kentucky, who's gone down the you-know-what right now. It would have just been like never a contender. Probably wouldn't have had the energy against Auburn on game day next week because they were still undefeated at the time. Probably wouldn't have had that energy and that passion and fire in some of the other games they played. And that one play was huge. I mean, it changed so much of their season. But those are the things that Trask could do. He shouldn't take off down the field running. It's like slow motion, like Donkey Kong from Mario Kart. Like takes him a while to run. These QB draw plays with him. Doesn't go anywhere. But he is he's the right guy, and he's good enough to keep them. He's a legit quarterback that can keep you in any game. And I'm not gonna. You know how? Look, my voice is on almost every show on this network, and I'm telling you know that I don't get on here and say that. Aha, I was right. I'm not that kind of guy. Like, just sit
you just
back
do that
and
off the air with
just
me.
off the air, just with you, yeah. On Oregon, no. But when it comes down to this, I was telling people from the beginning of the season when they were doing the orange and blue games, and people will vouch, Florida fans will vouch. I'm like, Trask is the better option. What is this? Like, why do we keep putting Franks in this situation? No, Frank's gonna get better. Like, no, why are they not going with Trask? Everything we've seen, he's a better quarterback. We didn't know Trask was going to be great. It was just the option was Franks is not going to win you the games you want to win. That's where it was at. So when we come back, we're going to hear from Dan Mullen, as Mullen will talk a little bit on the Florida State-Florida game and the win, now having Florida set up for a New Year's Eve 6 game. On the outside looking in with an 18 playoff. Look, advocates out there. They would probably be in today. Coming back for more. It's Go Gators on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, brought to you by the Holman Law Firm.
For small businesses, payroll is complex and time-consuming, and mistakes can mean tax trouble. Sure Payroll makes it easy to pay employees and file federal, state, and local taxes, and accuracy is guaranteed with full service plans, all done online in minutes, and with award-winning support, even on weekends and evenings. So spend more time for your small business and less time on payroll and taxes. To learn more and get a free 1-month trial, visit surepayroll.com now or call 844-SURE-PAYROLL.
This is a message for all parents. If you as an adult think it's tough being separated or divorced, have you truly stopped to consider how your being separated or divorced affects your children? How parents treat one another, either during or after divorce, can have lifelong effects on your children. Whether you are separated from your spouse or even actually divorced, in either situation, keep in mind that you and your spouse are parents forever. Hello, my name is Stephen T. Holman, and I am a family law attorney. If you have questions regarding custody, visitation, or child support, call me today for a free consultation at 435-6909. That's 435-6909.
The new Michelin silicone plates last through everything.
On a world record-breaking drive from Alaska to South America in unpredictable conditions.
Thunderstorms, ice storms, they just don't quit.
Rainier Zeitlo chose Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades with advanced QuadTech 4-layer coated silicone that repels water, snow, and ice and lasts 2 times longer than other blades.
It's coming down in sheets.
Real world proven. Extreme weather wiping performance. Upgrade to Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades today. Only at Walmart.
The Sports Drive with Chad Brillante is your drive home from work. Weekly interviews with legendary head coaches like Pat Dye from Auburn.
You had to have a lot of respect for that quarterback.
And Gene Stallings from Alabama.
They've thrown the ball quite a bit. They've got excellent wide receivers.
In-studio guests, expert commentary. The Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. 5 till 7 every weekday afternoon on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. Go Gators right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Gator fans, pretty excited as getting the job done this year. 10-2 overall, 2 losses, appropriate losses. You lose at LSU. Team that might be ranked number 1 in the nation when all is said and done. Could win the national title with Joe Burrow. Ever since he's gone with EAUX. Can't stop him right there in the bank.
They had a lead in that game, too. That's
right.
That was the thing in that LSU game.
Yeah, 12-0, Coach O right there. But I'm telling you, it's they're looking good. And they have a quarterback that nobody has figured out how to stop. It's good. It should be fun. The SEC title game. Out of all the title games right now, that one probably has the most intrigue because Wisconsin's a 16.5-point underdog. They're just not at the level of Ohio State. And then there's tiers in the Big Ten. There's tiers. There's Ohio State. Then there's Wisconsin right now. Then there's Michigan, Penn State, and Minnesota's. Then all of a sudden, after that, there's a little bit drop off, and then you got the Indianas and the other teams like that. But there's a tier by itself, and it was clear last week. I mean, that was their playoff game. That was their championship for Michigan. I mean, that was Jim Harbaugh had to make that was a statement game for a lot of people, and I think being a 9-point underdog, they were like, all right, this is. Even some people are like, that might be too much. It's in Michigan. We've seen these ways. And Ohio State just throttled them. They just throttled them right there. So,
it's same story, different day. We hype it up because we want it to be a really good game. We think this is it for Harbaugh. And then it always continues to disappoint you, just the way the game plays out.
But Georgia actually has the type of team where there's no reason to think they're going to get throttled by anyone. Ever. I mean, when I say ever, that's ever, forever.
Well, now they could get throttled.
But I don't see them getting throttled by any team. And even when they haven't got throttled in 3 or 4 years. Even the games they lost to Alabama, they were winning both of those, the title game and last year. The 2 ways they got their season ended where they didn't win the national title. The final moment where they didn't win a title was a game where Alabama came back last year to win in the conference title game. And the year before was in a title game when Tua made that 27-yard touchdown pass on 2nd and 27 that ended it right there in overtime.
What's throttled to you?
To me, it's like getting beat by like
3 touchdowns.
2-3 touchdowns.
And I only say that because you look at this week against LSU. Where are they going to find their offense?
think that's what most people are saying, and it's a 7 or 8 point spread. I think their defense is good enough still to keep them in the game.
But their defense is just good. They're going to be gassed.
You still have Jake Fromm getting better with players around him. I'm just telling you. Look at Georgia. You have to look at the body of work lately. And I'm not playing devil's advocate because I do agree. I've said without Cager and without Swift,
and then Pickens is gone in the first half.
I know.
So that's a whole half. And where's your receivers at?
But here's everything about this game. LSU can afford to lose it, and they're still in the playoff. Georgia has to win to get in the playoff, and you still have the key pieces. The offensive line is healthy. The defense is still there, and you have your quarterback, Jake Fromm. And you have your coaching staff. And you're in Georgia, and the game's in Georgia. So LSU fans that are buying tickets right now, they're probably saving their money more for the college football playoff than they are for this game.
But LSU's not buying the whole we can still lose and get in because they want to be one. Like, you want to be the 1 seed at this point. If anything, it's no buy in the playoff, but it's a lot better than having to play in Ohio State or at Clemson. You would rather play a Utah or an Oklahoma.
You would rather, yes. But they're still in. I mean, that's the thing right now.
I think they just come out and prove a point to people because
they've done that all season.
And the defense, to me, where LSU, they really stood and did that defense showed up because against A&M. And A&M is not a juggernaut by any stretch. That's not what I'm saying. But we saw them against Ole Miss. It was like, what are they even doing out there? It's like they don't even care. And then they show up in a game like that. And now Georgia, they have the perfect opportunity to prove that not only their offense is good, we all know that, but that their defense is as good as advertises or is better than what we think it is.
It's just something with this game. I mean, like I said, I'm not – everything is what you're saying is leaning towards that. And I don't think Georgia wins because of the injuries. But, I mean – the game's in Georgia. I mean, it's in their state. I know, and this is a play. And once again, they lost to South Carolina, and they lost to that game when you have college kids that obviously were not getting up for this game, and they were up. I mean, it's a SEC's game, but they just weren't. Their heads weren't in it like it was a championship caliber game. You had the LSUs and Floridas and all these other teams battling, and that game was a pick six the other way. If you look at the stats, South Carolina didn't dominate the game. They had 2 plays. It was like a 70-yard touchdown pass on 3rd down and a pick six, and they won 27-17. Where Georgia's offense had been anemic, but Georgia in this game, in their last couple games, think about it. Jeff Collins all excited after winning a football game for Georgia Tech in his Shamu type suit. And he gets out there and watches his team get beat at home, 52-7. 52-7. They're able to go out there and they win games against Auburn. They were up 21-0 at Jordan-Hare, same stadium that Alabama allowed 48 points. They were up 21-0. They won 21-14. They beat Missouri 27-0. They beat Florida, who's playing on a high. Like, every one of these teams, they found a way to defensively to just be as good as advertised. And because of that, that gives them a shot against the quarterback that has been able to beat everybody, which is Joe Burrow. So if any team in the country right now could put up a game against Joe Burrow, to me, we talk about Clemson and Ohio State. Those are the teams that always come up. And both those teams are complete teams. But if someone's going to stop Joe Burrow, Georgia's defense is in that mix. They're in the conversation. They could be the best of those 3. However, their offense still has Jake Fromm, who was considered a Heisman guy, but they also have they have some of the big guys out, but they still have athletes on that team. But the biggest thing, so it's not like if they lost Jake Fromm and we were going now that Justin Fields is off the field, forget about it. They're not going to. So Jake Fromm can still, nobody would be shocked if Jake Fromm makes enough plays to make this close and wins a game 21-20. I mean, he can still make plays. He's going to be a top tier NFL draft pick. He can still make plays, and he's done it. And this is the biggest moment for him, and they've shown up and done pretty well in other games. But all of that being said, their defense is still good enough to keep this one close. I think Georgia covers the 7.5 points.
I think it's at least a 2 touchdown. And listen, DeAndre Swift, 1,200 yards. Then you go down and you look at the offense because this is the defense. The defense is going to play well for Georgia, but they're going to be gassed because they're going to have no help on offense, in my opinion. You say Jake Fromm, and he can make.
But
some
LSU's
plays.
Defense is not like.
But
they're
we
not
don't know
brutal in this.
Well, yeah, they're not brutal, but they don't have to be because Georgia's not at full strength. Georgia doesn't have Swift, and they don't have Cager. Those are their go-to guys. And then you don't have Pickens for the first half. Look, after Swift, you got Harrion and White, and they have 466 yards and 311 yards. Okay, sure. And then Pickens, like we said, he's their leading receiver. He's gone for the first half for just a stupid penalty, like swinging at somebody, Georgia, whatever. Anyway, Lawrence Cager's done. Then you have to go down the list to Dominic Blaylock and Demetrius Robertson. 200 yards apiece, receiving almost 300 for Blaylock. Like, I just don't know. Like, LSU, this is the perfect game. Their defense will look better because, yeah, Fromm's a good quarterback. Yeah, I'm not saying that Fromm's not. But he also has had some weapons out there. It's not like he's been like Brady doing it with nobody out there. He has also got to have some help around him. Now, the Georgia's defense, I will say that defensive line, I think LSU is going to struggle to run the football because those guys are a lot harder to move than what people think.
We could say what we want, and there's some games, but here's the thing about LSU's defense on the road, because it's a road game for both. It's a neutral site game, but it's away from Death Valley. They've allowed 37 points to Ole Miss, 41 points to Alabama, 13 points to Mississippi State, but, I mean, that's them scoring is tough. 38 points to Vanderbilt on the road, 38 points to Texas. So they've allowed – that's what I'm saying, like – on games away from Death Valley where it's just hostile and, we're in Louisiana and everybody's jumping around, it's nasty, and it's always the most hostile environment, one of, if not the most hostile environment. Been games with my wife right there watching. LSU just gets up. They get up for that game more at home. Now, all those games I'm talking about, that defense is allowed. They have shown signs in 37, 41, 13, 38, 38. Those are high-scoring games that you've allowed. And I know it's also you've scored like 56 and 58 in those games, so sometimes those games get out of control in the second half. But so when you talk, though, about matchups in sports, this Georgia LSU, out of all the matchups, it's the team right now that can figure, I think, outside of the ones that are obvious, at Ohio State and Clemson, this is the matchup right here where Georgia's defense could, like Auburn did for a little while, their defensive front, could give Joe a little bit of pressure and apply that on the road in a neutral site game. And their offense has athletes good enough with a quarterback that is a top-tier pick and has been there, done that before, to make plays in the secondary to score points and score just enough to win. Georgia's not going to throttle LSU. They're not. That's not happening. But I would not be shocked if this game ends 24-21 or 24-20. Just see that. And look, I'll be rooting in purple and gold. You know where I'm going to be rooting? But I can't go against. And before, remember, with Cager and Swift and those guys, I actually called the Georgia was going to win the game. I thought they would, like 21-17, the same kind of style. I think now, without those guys, LSU will just have enough to win. But this is going to be a good game. I really do believe.
This is just a game where
Steak Tacos, I'm taking Georgia right now, 7.5. I'll take Georgia 7.5.
Okay.
All right. Another Steak Tacos.
I'll take LSU.
What was the other one we had this week? I forget. I already forget.
What? NFL?
We had another game where we made that play too as well.
Oh, NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Steelers and the Browns.
Oh, that's right. I'm up some tacos right now, right?
Oh, a beer.
It was a beer for that. Okay. So we'll go back to that. Okay.
Which I told you, I went on a full rant. The Browns, I have zero faith.
Yeah.
Freddie Kitchens has got to go, and those guys have got to figure out what in the heck. That's for another.
Baker Mayfield also got hurt, so that didn't help the cause. But no. Yes. But you don't. Thank you for
this is their same song and dance for them.
All right. We'll make back that beer because I can drink two. If I did. Coming back for more. It's Go Gators right here on ESPN Pensacola. We'll hear from Coach Dan Mullen.
Before I got married, my dad told me, happy wife, happy life.
Really? Mine told me, get her bling, you'll be king.
That man's a genius.
Your JCPenney associate will help you find something that sparkles as much as she does. Shop select fine jewelry up to 60% off. Plus, save an extra 40% with your JCPenney credit card and coupon. JCPenney Rewards members get select diamond jewelry for just $25. JCPenney. Offers valid 12/5 to 12/11. Credit offer subject to credit approval. $25 diamond jewelry excluded from coupon. Other exclusions apply. See jcp.com for coupon and details.
It's happening.
Wherever plays are being made, tickets are being sold, and fans are lining up, ADP is designing a better way to work. With industry-leading HR, talent, time, benefits, and payroll, more companies rely on ADP than any other HR partner to help step up their game. From small business to global enterprise. See how ADP can help you and your people achieve what you're working for at design.adp.com. ADP, always designing for people.
This is a message for all parents. If you as an adult think it's tough being separated or divorced, have you truly stopped to consider how your being separated or divorced affects your children? How parents treat one another, either during or after divorce, can have lifelong effects on your children. Whether you are separated from your spouse or even actually divorced, in either situation, keep in mind that you and your spouse are parents forever. Hello, my name is Stephen T. Holman, and I am a family law attorney. If you have questions regarding custody, visitation, or child support, call me today for a free consultation at 435-6909. That's 435-6909.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. It is Go Gators right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Florida Gators getting set to go here for their bowl game coming up. It looks like no matter what, they're going to be going to a New Year's Eve bowl game right there. They'll, by the way, right after Conference Championship Week, they'll make all the picks, and we'll know exactly what bowl games. They wait, especially for some of the bowls have already sort of been announced based on, where you fall in your conference, the 6-6, 7-5 type teams. The difference between getting that call, whether you're heading to the Bahamas or you're heading to Boise, that's a tough call to get right there. Good potatoes, good suds, but I'd rather go to the Bahamas at this time. Parts of the Bahamas. But looking at, for Georgia, for Florida this year, Jeff, last time I checked the bowl games, whether it's the Cotton, the Orange, and you were looking at those earlier, it's going to be against the team that Florida fans, or really anybody, it's not going to want to get up to say, like, oh, man, this is who we get to play. Was it Memphis, Virginia, one of those teams? Like, they're going to either get, like, Memphis in the Cotton Bowl or Virginia in the Orange Bowl. Is that where they're going? Like,
yeah.
Those are games that people don't want to hear that. They know.
I would rather see Florida and Michigan or somebody, or Florida, Wisconsin.
Like, the Memphis is a lose-lose. And from our indications, not that it's official at this point with anything going on, but it sounds like Mike Norvell, there's a very good chance he's the next Florida State coach. So now if you play Memphis, you get an interim coach that's not going to be their coach anyway, and that's the team you play. And a game where if you win, you get no brownie points, but if you lose, everybody talks about it. Maybe they weren't that good. And Memphis is a good team. Memphis isn't a bad team at all. Like, they can beat you. If you're not up, they score enough points. They can. But
Florida State fans may want to pay attention to that Memphis game.
They should. Yeah, Florida State fans, if you're out there listening, might want to watch it. Just saying.
Check out that coach.
If they don't make an announcement every single minute, if you're a Florida State fan, you should expect it's somebody on that playing field. That's all I'm going to say. Because it really legitimately would be one of the two coaches that are on those sidelines. I could see a curveball. I could be like, oh, Luke Fickell, look at that. But every minute that goes by, there's a good chance. Florida fans, too, you might want to watch that game. Because, hey, you might play them, A, and B, this might be the coach you're going up against. So there you go. How about that? Swamp is rocking. It was a good time and a big win. The game went down this week, Jeff. It was 40-17. They dominated. Was that? I think we almost called the exact score of that game, but it was.
I had said 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, they were going to cover. We both said they were going to cover the 18.
Yeah.
They ended up winning by 23. So, but Florida looked superior in almost every facet of that game. They're just a better football team. And a lot of people were watching that Auburn-Alabama game and then flipped over to Florida State, and you're like, man, just wasn't the same feel of the style of how that went down. Looking right now at Dan Mullen, his press conference after the Florida State game, this is what he had to say. Once again, excited Just really proud of his team, and this was Dan after the win against Florida State.
I think I really like, talking to our guys, talk about finishing the right way, the effort, and I love that. I thought we played with great effort. At times we're a little sloppy execution-wise, but I thought we played with great effort the entire day. Anytime you look, and a great season, at our guys, every one of our guys. It's a heck of a year for us. You look, you beat the semis like that, and then you beat Miami to start the year, with playing two Power 5 non-conference games against huge in-state rivals. Not many people are doing that on top of an SEC schedule. So for our guys to have the mental, physical toughness to finish the year the way we did was fantastic. The way we finished that game, I thought was fantastic. All the way to the final whistle. We were competing, playing, going hard, not worried about anything, but as hard as we could go on the next play. I thought that was great. Obviously, I want to thank all the Gator fans, Gator Nation. You've heard me say it over and over. If we pack the swamp, we'll win. Not we win and we'll pack the swamp, Coach. It doesn't work that way. It's the other way. And you look at our fans, what they were able to do all year. Crowd was unbelievable. Every home game was unbelievable. Gave us that home field advantage, and lo and behold, we go undefeated at home. And I think that's really special. And I thank all the Gator Nation to go do that, go follow through with that. So, right now we'll get coaches get to get ready to head out and hit the road recruiting. Players get to go wrap up final exams, and we'll find out where we go here, hopefully in a couple weeks, right? We get to see that. Never know how that's going to play out. Hopefully, did enough to get a New Year's Six Bowl, maybe even more. I saw, right? Baylor beat a 6-win team last week and jumped up 5 spots. So we did the same today pretty handily. So we'll see how that works.
Before we open up for questions, we're going to move really quickly tonight since the players are trying to get out of here. So get your questions in, and we'll move close.
Get them in quick. Go.
Edgar?
Ready, set, go. You got a mic? Go. Oh, Edgar, Mike, go.
So, yeah, you mentioned the New Year's Six. That's obviously on your radar. Where do you?
I don't have a vote, so.
Well, what do you think? What do you think you guys have accomplished in that respect? Especially
you're looking. We're 10-2. We played a tough non-conference schedule. Playing. Going out. And it's going to determine a lot. You look and you say, okay, hey, we went out to aggressively schedule 2 Power 5 teams non-conference. There's a lot of teams not doing that, unfortunately, we lost 2 games, right, by a total of 21 points to the 2 teams that are right now in the top 4 in the country. So I don't know. Again, I don't know the discussions that happen in the room and all that stuff, but resume-wise, I think we have a pretty solid resume to be a top 10 team.
The 2019 class, when you see so many of those guys, the scholarship guys that stuck around, helped with this turnaround. What does that kind of message send
I think
for the
it's
program?
special. It's really special to me. I know when you come in and you say, hey, this is, we didn't recruit you, but this is how we're going to run the program. And, this is what we believe in. This is how the program's going to be run in the future. And those guys believed and bought in, and I thanked all of them. Every single one of them, I thanked them. I said, thanks for believing in me. They played hard for the Gators, but they came here to be Gators. But then they also believed in me and bought into what me and the coaching staff and what we're trying to build here and what we're trying to do and how we run our program. So I'm very thankful for them to believe in me, and it's a great honor for guys to do that.
Dan, what's it mean to be 3-0 against your state rivals since you got here? How does that help the program? How does that help the brand? How does that help recruiting?
Well, obviously winning always helps the brand. Recruiting, I don't know. I've never known that those are huge deals. You know what I mean? I think, but the fact that we're winning games, that we have the opportunity to compete for SEC and national championships, get to play in the SEC is a huge recruiting boost. I think being one of the top 10 public universities in America, right? The only SEC team that is. I think the only school in the state of Florida that is. So, to have that academic, all of that helps in recruiting more than just winning those individual games. But I know it's great. It's great for the Gators. It's great for us because, anytime you win in-state rivals, those are your neighbors. That's who people are getting up to go to church with tomorrow, right? Be a lot of orange and blue in church tomorrow. That's when you go to, New Year's Eve parties coming up and Christmas parties and holiday parties and all this. People get to wear their orange and blue and have a lot of pride because, those are bragging rights for your neighbors. You're out, Edgar's out at the club and, will be hitting some golf balls, that's anytime you do that. I know that we have several rivals here, but when you win the in-state ones, I think it's it gives everybody bragging rights for a year, and it's a lot of fun.
Also, real quick, there was a sneak peek of the new football complex on the Jumbotron tonight. What is that going to mean?
Well, that's going to be huge for us. There's so much to it. I know, I could sit here and talk about it for 45 minutes to you of the importance of it and every asset of how every way it's going to affect our program in every aspect. And there's a lot of them. Number one, to me, the ultimate one is development of players, and that's going to be a huge help for us to develop the players. And I think people get oohed and awed by some of the pretty parts of it all, but the actual player development aspect of it is going to be so huge for us in the future.
Before we move on, we have David Reese over in the corner. He's only going to stay for a couple minutes, guys. If you need him, I'd grab him now. Cassidy.
Is that about as perfect of a senior night as you can ask for?
Oh, I'm pretty critical, so there are a lot of little things we could have done better. But for our seniors, I think it went really well. Got touches, I think and we made a concerted effort. I mean, I know it's always a big deal. Like I really love what our 4 senior wideouts have done this year, and that's why I made a concerted effort. They all played on the first play of the game, so they could go get that start because they officially start, right? Because they played the first play of the game. And just the unselfishness of a lot of guys on our team. But I was pleased. A lot of those guys had big nights, and but not as perfect, right? Tommy had didn't get a rushing first down. So there's some things that could have gone better.
Pitiful. Freddie Swain is what happened to Freddie?
Yeah,
Swain?
Freddie tweaked his knee. And it was one of those of, hey, he could push through. He could have gone in the second half. We got a bowl game coming up. The trainers are like, it was one of those he could make it worse if he went. So, we shut him down, but we fully expect him to be able to go in the bowl game. That's why we shut him down at halftime.
Dan, obviously you go from 9 regular season wins to 10, but what ways do you think this team, I guess, helped move this program forward?
Well, I think you look at this year. You look at last year's, I think we had a really good year last year, winning 9 regular season games. But I don't think we run it in the same fashion we did this year. And, I think you look at how this team won, how we won big games, had a tough schedule to go play, some tough road games we had to go play and how we competed it. I thought that they took a huge step forward.
Nick, over to the right.
Coach, where was the culture when you got here, and then how hard is it to change a culture, and where are you, I guess, in that process now?
Well, the culture, I don't know. I don't judge it. I just knew what we were going to build, what we were going to establish. I told everybody that. I never, everybody's like, boy, how have people improved? I never judged. I tried not to watch any film. I tried not to even to look at a lot of records and issues of guys, maybe they had discipline issues or academic issues, or maybe guys were great. I wiped all that when I had my first meeting. Came in and said, this is what we're going to do, and we need you guys to buy in, and really they have. And, I've been really pleased with how the guys have bought in and the success we've had, and hopefully we continue to build that going into the future.
Dan Mullen talking about the victory against Florida State. Obviously proud of his guys, and Florida fans proud of the work Dan Mullen accomplished this year. Another 10-win season, getting it done, 3 straight wins now, and just continuing to build on the program since he has been there. We're coming back for more. It's Go Gators right here on ESPN Pensacola, brought to you by the Stephen T. Holman Law Firm. Holman Law Firm, Justin, Stephen, doing a great job in protecting your rights. If you're dealing with a tough divorce or any type of situation, it's not an easy one, but you want the right representation and the best parents, both parents. Call the Holman Law Firm. Check them out today. Proud sponsors of Go Gators.
How good are PXG clubs? Golf writers describe them as absolutely remarkable and the best golf clubs out there. Our customers call them insanely good and say they live up to the hype. So what are you waiting for? Step up your game and enjoy golf more than ever. Call 844-PLAY-PXG. 844-PLAY-PXG, or visit pxg.com to book your custom fitting. PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
It's time for some straight talk. You know those football players who are all talk, no show? Well, big wireless carriers aren't much different. Well, Straight Talk Wireless doesn't give you the hype, just the savings. For just $45 a month, you'll get the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. No contract. All on the same 4G LTE networks as the big guys, but up to half the cost. Savings delivered right to your wallet. Only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Would you let other people order for you?
He'll have the saumon lyonnaise.
No, I won't. So why let others make decisions about your older years? Do you want your kids or perfect strangers choosing where you'll live or how your money gets spent?
No.
Go to longtermcare.gov and find your own path forward. It takes you step by step through everything you need to consider about aging and all your options. longtermcare.gov. Plan now to stay in charge or pay later.
How about a mohawk?
Very funny.
UWF with the upset. Will Kennedy joins us to recap the Valdosta State win and a look ahead to the quarterfinals matchup against Lenoir-Rhyne and its conference championship week this Saturday on Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. The UWF Argos stunned the defending national champion Valdosta State in the second round of the Division II football playoffs. Now they face Lenoir-Rhyne in the quarterfinals. Catch the action this Saturday beginning at 11:30 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1
You're listening
FM.
to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. Go Gators right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante alongside Jeff Price, brought to you by the Holman Law Firm each and every week as Florida Gators riding high. Looks like a Cotton Bowl, the possibility of the Orange Bowl. Jeff, if you had to choose, you got the Orange Bowl not too far. It's still a hike. I love when people call when you're in the state of Florida, got relatives up north in like Boston. They'll be like, oh, you're going down there to the Keys? You're just going to hang out there, have some fun this week, Wicked awesome time down there. And I'm like, no, we're not, Grandma. We're not going to the Keys. We're 13 hours away. And it's like, thank you, but it'd be nice. Just get on a boat. And it's a large state right there. So, yes, it's a drive down to Miami. But Cotton Bowl is a little far to play a team like Memphis. If that's or Virginia.
Well, at least you get to play in Jerry's world, I guess
it
that
could
would
be a trip. I guess it's a vacation around there, the New Year's time.
Yeah.
Good place to celebrate.
I mean, I'd rather play in the Orange Bowl if I was them, but then again, if you get a chance to play in Jerry's world, that's always pretty cool.
They're two good venues. You can
absolutely.
party in Dallas and in Miami. I mean, you spend the money if you're a Gator fan this year for that, or you wait and that next year is the hype year.
Well, you never assume that next year's the year, that type of thing, but maybe. But I'll tell you something, Jerry Jones might be talking to Dan Mullen. If that's the case, like, hey, you ever think about coaching in the NFL? Listen, I've got this guy. I picked him up from Macy's, all right? He was a mannequin. But I'm trying to get rid of him. I keep telling him, like, you're our guy to the end of the year, but the end of the year is, well, it's over now. I need you. I could see Jerry just being like, yeah, you need to send Florida over here, absolutely. Yeah, definitely get him over here. We'd love to have him. And then that's what it is. It's a setup.
Florida's got a good schedule next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
was looking at that.
Eastern Washington. You kick off with Eastern Washington. You don't have to go to that crazy red turf with Cooper Kupp. I don't know if he has another cup out there, but you don't have to take it on. Eastern Washington is a win. Kentucky at home. South Alabama at home. How about them Jags going down there?
Yikes.
Yeah. Tennessee in Knoxville. It's going to be tougher. I mean, that's going to be a tougher game, but you're still expecting them to win that game.
Yeah.
South Carolina. Jake Bentley is already transferring, and they're just not at that level. Will Muschamp's got a vote of confidence for what? Going 4-8? LSU in Gainesville. That's big.
Yep.
Could be against the defending champions. Could be. I mean, it's against defending champions of the country. Ole Miss, at this point, you never know. You're in Oxford. You might get peed on. Then the bye week. Then you got the game right there against Georgia, still in Jacksonville. Vanderbilt. That's good. It's actually good to have games like Vanderbilt on the road, in my opinion, because that gives the good games like LSU at home. You'd rather have the toughest games at home and then have the games where you're expected to win anyway on the road.
You ever been to a Vandy game?
I've been no, I have not. I mean, I've been to campus on accident. Right.
It's so poor. Like, I feel so bad. And now, granted, their baseball team's awesome and everything, and they pack out, but there's more people at a baseball game than there is a football game there.
In Nashville right now, if you could choose one, a Belmont Conference Championship basketball game, a Vanderbilt football game, or a game.
Football is here. Catch all the
or a game between the Tennessee Titans. No, I'm just saying. You're like Eric. But, Jeff, that's all we have for Go Gators. Congratulations to Florida on a great season, getting set to go for a New Year's Eve bowl game. Jonathan Grenard, SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week honors, and just a good season overall. Enjoy the show. We'll come back for more. It's the Feinbaum Show, and then off to Sports Drive tonight at 5. Thanks for joining us. For Jeff Price, I'm Chad Berliante. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks to the Holman Law Firm. Have a great rest of your night, and God bless.
All them dogs are counting down, about to put the anchor down. Hotty toddy, who's it gonna be? Cowbells and Swan, the Aggies wrong. There's nothing like the SEC.